Before we begin, let me do something first. If I have ever allowed my mind, my ego, my words, or my attitude to corrupt someone else's world, to belittle them, to demolish them, or to make them feel small in this social space, God, I acknowledged it because I cannot live this life teaching and developing minds if I have contributed to someone's breakdown. I cannot pour into people publicly and tear them down in private. So today, right now, before I speak about Jack, before I define identity, before I talk about accountability, I surrender my own. God, if I have mishandled, influenced, correct me. If my confidence ever turned into ego, discipline me. If my words wounded someone intentionally or unintentionally, heal them. I release pride. I release defense. I release the need to be right. And I place my mind, my mouth, my spirit back into your hands. Now, I'm ready to begin. Now, before I go any further, here at the Just Box Wellness and Media, we want to say this. If you're trying to grow, trying to understand yourself, and trying to get your mind right, you got to learn how to slow down. Everything doesn't requires a reaction. Sometimes clarity comes from pausing. Whether that's writing things down, stepping away, or just sitting with your thoughts. See, growth requires space. So we say to you, take a moment, reset your mind, and please, we would like for you to come back stronger. Welcome back to the Just Box, hosted by yours truly, Shandrell Clark. Today's episode is not just about conversation. I'm gonna say it's a seminar because some topics require structure, some conversations require correction, and some growth requires accountability. And today's seminar is called Be Jack and Know Your Ass. And no, this is not just wordplay. This is identity. This is psychology. And this is leadership. So we're going to do this movement one. And we're going to call this one, This Is Not a Joke. Jack is not a nickname, it's discipline. Jack means justified, not defensive, aware, not hypersensitive, controlled, not reactive, knowing without ignorance. Now that's maturity. That's emotional discipline. That's accountability. Movement two, the psychology of Jack. Now, everybody has ego, fear, defense mechanism, pre rejection, and sensitivity to rejection. And when those things go unmanaged, you don't become powerful, you become unstable. And unstable people destroy healthy environments. Not always intentionally, but damage is still damage. Now we move it on to movement three, the social breakdown. Now I want to go deeper. People don't disconnect from you just because you're strong. They disconnect because they feel unheard. They disconnect because every conversation turns into defense. Every correction turns into an argument. And every movement turns into you proving a point. And see, over time, people stop correcting you, they stop engaging with you, they stop growing with you, not because they don't care, it's because they are tired. And then you look up and then you wake up one day and you say, why nobody talks to me like that anymore? Why people act different around me? Sweetie, because your environment adjusted to your behavior. Now that's social breakdown. And it doesn't happen loud, it happens in the quiet place, in your silent moment of your life. It happens. Movement 4, Know Your A.S.S. Now, let's break this down because I know some of you are saying, okay, we know Jack is an ass. See, your ass, A-S-S, your attitude, your sensitivity, your self-importance. These are not bad things, but unmanaged, they become dangerous. Your attitude can shut down rooms before conversations even start. Your sensitivity can make everything feel personal, even when it's not even about you. Your self-importance can convince you that you're always right, even when you're even wrong. Clock it. And here's the truth. A lot of people don't realize they're operating out of their ass because it feels justified. It feels like I'm just standing up for myself. I'm just being real. I'm just not letting nobody play with me. But sometimes you're not being real. You're fucking being reactive. If you guys are still with me, I thank you. Now we move it on up to movement 5, the accusations. Now let's sit in this for a second. When multiple people give you the same feedback, it's not a kawanka dank, it's a pattern. If people keep saying you don't listen, you are hard to talk to, Damien. You're always defensive, Kelly. At this point, you have to stop asking, why they saying that, Keisha? And start asking, Brenda, what am I doing to make them feel this way, Eric? Because accountability is not about intent, it's about impact. You may not mean to come off aggressive, Betty, but it's but if that's how you receive, that's how you receive it that matters. And that moment when it matters, that's growth. Jesse. Man, y'all are still with me. We are at movement six. Movement six. And I want you to guess what this movement is. Obedience. Obedience is one of the hardest things to accept because it requires humility, and humility challenges egos. See, I want to explain something to you. Obedience means you don't always have to get the last word, Marianne. You don't always get to explain yourself, Mark. You don't always get to be right in that moment, Ashley. Sometimes obedience looks like silence, John. Sometimes obedience looks like sitting with correction without defining yourself immediately. And let me tell you, that is uncomfortable because ego wants to fix preparation instantly. But your growth, Marlon, your growth says sit with it first, process it first, then responds. Then you better respond with an understanding that you know what's going on. And guess what that is called? That is called discipline with obedience. Let's take a moment right here because what we talking about is real life. See, everybody doesn't have a space to hear stuff like this without judgment. That's what we are here for. Here at the Just Box Wellness and Media, real talk, real conversation, real reflection, real growth. So if this hitting you the way you know you should be hitting the chest and lose your hair, we ask you to share it because growth spreads. We're not looking for your friends and we're not looking for your followers. We're just asking for your share. See, when you pass it on, it hits different. Man, you guys are still with me and I thank you. We are at movement number 7. And this movement is called Define X. X is not just a moment. It's a confrontation with yourself. X is when somebody tells you something that you do not want to hear. X is when you realize that you might be the problem in the situation, Amanda. X is when your pride and growth are both fighting for control, Micah. And the reason for X, and the reason for X being so powerful, it's because nobody can choose it for you. You either lean into discomfort or you run back to ego. And let me tell you, most people run because growth requires you to admit that I might need to change. Ooh, I'm so excited you guys are still with me and we are on movement number 8. Emotional control. Come on now, somebody. Now let's be real. Anybody can react. That's easy. But can you feel disrespected and still stay calm? I'm gonna say that it's funny because to me, when I think about that and what I just said, that always goes back when people say, "Oh, you crazy if you can stay calm." Can you feel misunderstood and still communicate clearly? Come on now. Can you feel triggered and still choose discipline? That is emotional intelligence. Because reaction is fast, but control takes work. Control takes awareness. Control takes practice. And people who lack emotional control, I'm about to tell you something. Them people, they destroy opportunities they pray for. All because they couldn't manage a moment. I want to tell you that I'm so proud of you because you made it this far and it is doing something to my spirit. We are at movement number 9, identity to influence. See, when you become stable, people start to trust you differently. They come to you for advice. They react to your presence. They even respect your presence. They value your words. But I need you to understand this. Influence is not given because you talk well. It's because you living well. Amen. Because people are watching how you respond, how you handle pressure, how you trust people. And if your behavior is inconsistent, your influence will be too. Come on now, somebody. Consistency is built on trust, and trust is built on impact. Come on, clock it. Come on now, somebody. I'm gonna say this: you my big dog. You my big dog. You standing 10 toes down. You standing 10 toes down with your girl. I appreciate you. We are at movement number 10, and this one is called Govern Yourself. Now, this is where it gets real. You cannot build anything solid if you cannot control yourself. You cannot lead people if your emotions is leading you. You cannot build a nation if your mindset is unstable. Self governance means this: you watch your tone, you check your reactions, you hold yourself accountable even when nobody else does. Come on now, Damien. Because leadership is not about controlling others, it's about controlling yourself first. And a lot of people want authority without discipline. They want respect without accountability. They want influence without self control. And it doesn't even work like that because the moment pressure hits, now who is really going to show up? So if you haven't mastered yourself, everything that you build will react to whatever that you have not mastered. Now, that is why, that is why self governance is not an option, it is required. Now, before we close, I want you to know this. Here at the Just Box Wellness and Media, we know that growth can be uncomfortable. And a lot of people avoid it, not because they don't want better, but because better requires accountability. So so we are saying if you feel called out, that is not an attack. That is awareness, and awareness, that's where change begins. So we ask you to lean on it, lean in it, and get to know it because it's looking for a new friend. I ain't gonna cry because people want me to be sad, but I ain't sad. I'm happy because you still with your girl. We on movement number 11, and this one is called Building a Nation. Now, let's take this bigger than just you who's listening. Now, when Jack becomes disciplined, he stops just being a person. He becomes a structure. And structure influences everything around it. Your habits become standards, and your standards becomes expectations, and your expectations sharp environments. And over time, the environment becomes culture. And culture, that's how nations are formed. But I want you to hear me clearly. See, you don't have to lead millions to build a nation. Your home is a nation. Your friend group is a nation. Your workspace is a nation. Your audience is a nation. And every nation operates based on the mindset of its leader. So if Jack is operating out of ego, that nation would be full of tension. If Jack is operating out of insecurity, that nation will become unstable. If Jack is operating out of pride, that nation will be divided. But see, when Jack is stable, disciplined, emotionally aware, and spiritually grounded, that nation becomes stable, respectful, healthy, and it starts to grow. So the question is not, can you lead? The question is, what are you building around you right now? Because whether you realize it or not, you are influencing somebody. Man, for you to make it this far, that shows me that you're not a quitter. You have made it to movement number 12, the final charge. Now, I want you to let me bring this all the way back, because this didn't start with teaching. This started with surrender. Now, before I spoke to you, I had to check me. Before I corrected anything, I had to confront myself. Before I asked you to grow, I had to be willing to grow too. And that is the part that people skip over. They want to lead without being led. They want to correct without being corrected. They want to build without being rebuilt. But see, Jack doesn't skip the process. Jack understands something. If I don't govern myself, I will damage everything connected to me. And that's why this is not just a message. This is a decision. Decision to pause instead of react. A decision to listen instead of defend. A decision to grow instead of protect ego. Because I tell you, the truth is, you can be intelligent and still lack discipline. You can be confident and still lack self-awareness. You can be strong and still be the reason things is falling apart. So today, I need you to be Jack. But don't just say it. I need you to live it. Check your attitude before it checks somebody else. Check your sensitivity before it destroys your reality. Check your self-importance before it blocks your growth. I need you to stand in X, that uncomfortable place where truth meets ego, and your ego chooses to grow every time. Because before Jack gathered nations, he had to surrender. Before Jack influenced anybody, he disciplined himself. Before Jack built anything, he corrected everything within. Come on now, somebody. And when you finally reach that place where your mind is clear and your emotions are controlled and your ego is managed, let me tell you something. You won't have to chase influence. You won't have to demand respect. You won't have to force your leadership, because people don't follow noise, they follow stability. So I need you to master yourself, then build, then lead, then gather. And then when you do all of that, make sure what you build can stand without your ego holding it up. Come on now, somebody. I want to tell you thank you. I want to tell you for making it all the way to movement number 12. This has been real, and this is the Just Box podcast hosted by yours truly, Shandrell Clark. And if this touched you, I don't want you to just listen. Now I want you to apply it to your life, and I want you to share it. You don't even have to like me. You don't have to be my friend. I just want you to share it, because I'd rather somebody hear it than to just sit on it. Okay, somebody. All right, now, love y'all.